Draco is a constellation in the northern sky that is associated with strength, power, and magic. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel where we talk about everything space. And today we're talking about one of the most fearsome constellations in the entire night sky, Draco, the dragon. Draco is the largest constellation in the entire northern sky, so it's very hard to miss. It takes up a huge chunk of land around the North Star or Polaris, which is the center of the handle of the Big Dipper asterism. This means that Draco can be seen from almost anywhere in the northern hemisphere. It shines brightly in the winter and spring months, and it's completely visible from locations north of the equator, although it can be seen from anywhere on Earth during the summer months. It just appears higher in the sky as you travel further north. The constellation itself is rather faint. It has no bright stars except for one star at the end of its tail. But the defining feature of Draco is its sheer size. Its immense bulk stretches between the Little Dipper in the southwest and the Big Dipper in the northeast. At its widest point, Draco measures 58 degrees across the sky, which is larger than any other constellation apart from Hydra, the water snake, which spans 60 degrees but only because a part of it is hidden behind the horizon when viewed from Earth. In this video, we'll look at some of the things that make Draco such an important constellation. First, let's take a closer look at its shape and see what makes Draco unique among the constellations. The dragon's head rises above the horizon in the northeast, and it's defined by the bright star Altunen, which lies on its snout. From here, its jaws stretch towards the northwest and down to the south, encompassing a total of 11 stars. Its tail begins with a slight curve before straightening out and extending towards the east, ending at the bright star Thuban in the handle of the Big Dipper. The rest of its body snakes between the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, with its back forming the southern boundary of the area enclosed by both of these asterisms. This creates an open-ended box in the sky with Draco forming the lid. The entire length of its body measures 47 degrees, while its head and neck measure 39 degrees from tip to base. If we were to stretch out its tail, it would reach a total of 52 degrees. But this includes the 15-degree-long handle of the Big Dipper, meaning that Draco's tail alone measures 37 degrees. This makes Draco the longest constellation in the sky, and although it isn't the tallest, no other constellation comes close to matching its sheer bulk. But Draco doesn't exist in a vacuum. The positions of the stars in the sky change throughout the year, and their paths have been charted by astronomers into a phenomenon known as the zodiac. As the Earth travels around the Sun, we appear to move through the stars. And every time we pass in front of a different constellation, that constellation becomes known as the zodiac constellation for that month. Because of this, the constellations we see in the sky at night are constantly changing. And right now, as we approach the summer solstice, we're seeing the last signs of spring. In the northern hemisphere, the stars of Leo the Lion are beginning to dominate the western skies after sunset. Meanwhile, high in the northern sky, the stars of Ursa Major or the Big Dipper are still dominating the skies. With the Plough asterism appearing low in the north at dusk, the Dippers are part of the much larger constellation of Boats, the herdsmen, and they're currently sitting close to the bright stars of Draco, the dragon. But if we wait for darkness to fall, we can watch the dragon fly across the northern sky. As the stars begin their journey through the east, they seem to dive down towards the horizon in the west, where the bright stars of Orion have already begun to disappear. Watching them sink below the horizon seems almost magical, like they're disappearing into another world. However, there is nothing magical about Draco. It is simply an illusion caused by the curvature of the Earth. Eventually, the last traces of the dragon will vanish from view, leaving the Great Rift and the dark nebulae of the coal sack as the only remaining witnesses to its passing. It might seem surprising that something so big can disappear from view so quickly, but remember, Draco is extremely thin. Most of its stars lie along a narrow band stretching around the sky, so as the stars cross the horizon, they quickly disappear from sight. However, those of us living in the northern hemisphere are in for a treat. As soon as the last traces of Draco disappear from view, the bright stars of Lyra, the Lyre, begin to rise in the northeast. High in the northern sky, the bright stars of Cygnus, the Swan, start to shine brightly, marking the beginning of the summer months and the promise of warm days and starry nights ahead. For many cultures throughout history, the dragon has been a powerful symbol. In China, dragons are seen as benevolent creatures who bring good luck and prosperity. They are often depicted as wise and spiritual beings who possess great power over the forces of nature. The ancient Greeks saw dragons as terrifying beasts who guarded treasure and hoarded wealth. They were often depicted as having multiple heads and wings, and they were said to breathe fire and poison. In Norse mythology, the Midgard serpent Jormungandr was a fearsome dragon who encircled the earth. He was the son of Loki and the embodiment of chaos and destruction. When the time came for Ragnarok, the end of the world, the serpent would break free of his bonds and bring about the death of all living things. In Welsh mythology, the two-headed dragon of Dinas Emrys was said to be the guardian of King Arthur's tomb. He was slain by the Anglo-Saxon invaders, but his spirit survived and is said to have been passed down to Cadwallader, the last king of Gwynedd. Draco may have been used as a symbol by many different cultures throughout history, but it was first given a name by the Romans. They named it Draco, which means dragon in Latin. This is fitting because Draco is the longest constellation in the northern sky, and it looks like a dragon stretching out across the stars. It was given a place of honor in the northern skies and was considered to be one of the most important constellations in the sky. Because of its prominence in the night sky, Draco was thought to be a representation of the divine dragon. That was said to encircle the earth and hold the heavens aloft. It was believed that the stars of Draco could control the weather, and that their movements could predict storms and other natural disasters. People who lived in the northern hemisphere would often turn to the stars of Draco when they needed guidance or protection. They would pray to the dragon for help and offer sacrifices to appease its wrath. One of the brightest stars in Draco is Tubani. This star is located at the end of the dragon's tail and is the brightest star in the constellation. It has a magnitude of 2.98 and is approximately 298 light-years away from Earth. Tubani is a giant star that is nearly 10 times the size of our Sun. It is also around 600 million years old, which is relatively young for a star of this size. Thuban has been known by many names throughout history. The ancient Arabic astronomers called it Eldar, which means the path, and the Chinese knew it as Shen, which means heart. However, the name Thuban is derived from the Arabic word El-Thuban, El-Atek, which means the old serpent. This name is fitting because Thuban is located at the end of the dragon's tail, and it was believed that the dragon was a representation of the celestial serpent that surrounded the earth. Thuban is also unique in that it was the North Star during the time of the vernal equinox that occurred around the 3rd century BC. This means that Thuban was located directly opposite the sun in the sky, and was used as a navigational aid by sailors and travelers. It remained the pole star for several centuries, but eventually it was replaced by Polaris, which is the North Star today. The second brightest star in Draco is Eltanin, which is located at the tip of the dragon's nose. Eltanin has a magnitude of 1.97 and is approximately 147 light-years away from Earth. It is a giant star that is around 10 times the size of our Sun, and it is around 2.5 million years old. Like Thuban, Eltanin has many names. The Arabic astronomers called it Al-Niyat al-Arabiya, which means the claw, and the Chinese knew it as Kang, which means prison. However, the name Eltanin is derived from the Arabic word Al-Tanin, which means little dragon. This name is fitting because Eltanin is located at the front of the dragon's face, and it is believed that the dragon was a representation of the celestial dragon that surrounded the earth. Another interesting fact about Eltanin is that it is a spectroscopic binary star. This means that it is actually two stars that orbit around a common center of mass. However, the two stars are too close together to be resolved by even the most powerful telescopes. Both Thuban and Eltanin are important navigational aids for those who travel by boat or aircraft. They are also used by astronomers to study the structure of our galaxy. Because Thuban and Eltanin are located in the plane of the Milky Way, they are used to map out the distribution of stars in our galaxy. Draco is a constellation that has captured the imagination of humans for centuries. Its fierce appearance and prominent position in the night sky have made it a popular subject for mythology and folklore. Whether it was the ancient Greeks who saw it as a representation of chaos and destruction, or the Romans who named it Draco, the dragon, the constellation has always been associated with power and magic. The dragon's tail ends at the bright star Thuban, which has been used as a navigational aid by sailors and travelers for centuries, and its head is marked by the bright star Eltanin, which is a spectroscopic binary star. Draco is not just a pretty face though. It is also an important tool for astronomers who use it to map out the structure of our galaxy. With its prominent position in the northern skies, Draco is a constellation that is not likely to be forgotten anytime soon.